Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, Elder Candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing. Oh, hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Oh, good. I'm
Doing all right. I'm tired, but I'm good.
You look tired.
I am tired.
You look tired.
I am. I'm like
Tired.
I'm
Like
not sleeping much.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying, I'm not sleeping
I
much.
know. Let's all pity you again.
Oh, I'm not looking for pity. I'm just
No, I
explaining
know. Go
why
ahead, tell
my
me.
face looks like it. But look, I got a beard trim.
Yeah, it looks all right.
I got a head shave. Got a straight razor head shave.
It's good. Yeah, looks nice. Your head looks nice.
Yeah.
Beard looks all right.
No, beard looks good.
Looks good.
Looks good. Stop it.
What?
You want to talk about jacked up beards?
You look like the Crypt Keeper. What do you mean jacked up beards?
Crypt Keeper doesn't have a beard.
No, but does he?
No.
You sure?
Yeah. You're talking to Mr. Horror Movie.
You sure he doesn't have like a straggly one?
Stop it.
I'm pretty sure he's got a
He's
Stetzer.
long, strangly hair.
Yeah, he's got the Stetzer. He's got
On
the
his
Stetzer.
head. No.
He's got the Stetzer beard on his head.
All right, you put up a picture of the Crypt Keeper next to me. We'll see.
Well, we all know.
Yeah, not the same thing.
You're gonna learn today.
Not at all. Yeah, man. No, things are good, man. I'm tired, but I'm actually I'm in a good mood. I'm not.
Why are you in such a good mood? Because I'm here. Admit it.
It's all right. I mean, it's good.
That was hurtful,
Dude, you're not making any time for me.
I made time for you
You made time for the podcast.
and you.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So we're gonna hang out after this?
Well, no.
Okay,
But
there
we,
you go.
we,
That's
we,
right. There it
we
is.
got together beforehand.
Yeah. No, you met me where I was grabbing a quick bite.
Yeah, so we can have dinner together.
Yeah. Okay.
You're welcome.
It wasn't very romantic. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, come on. Like, we're supposed to sit there and hold hands? What do you think?
No, but like maybe some meaningful conversation.
We had meaningful
No,
conversation.
you were making fun of the guy with the jacket on.
I wasn't making fun of him.
Oh, yes, you were.
No, I was not. I was impressed with
No.
his jacket. It was a Space Invaders jacket.
No, it was not. And
Yeah, it was?
nope.
Oh, what was it?
Nope. Don't worry about it. But listen. Here's the thing. You need to make more time for me. But no, I'm in a good mood because
We're together. Yes,
God's
I'm here
good, and yeah,
and I'm here.
you're here. Okay.
Yep, you're welcome.
We've gotten some requests for discussion on pastors and their schedules, or ministry and scheduling and family time and all of that stuff.
Prioritizing, all that.
And so we thought, well, why don't we talk a little bit about that, and we'll put a fine point on the issue of when to say no. That's really important because a lot of people, not just pastors, a lot of people that are members of churches are asked to serve and serve and serve and serve. Now, I feel like we're very sensitive to that issue here at Redeemer. We don't want to overtax people
Correct.
and have them serve too much, because a lot of us came from that kind of an environment.
That's right.
So, but I hear from people all the time where like, wow, I'm just getting run into the ground and I'm expected to do,
You're talking about those in ministry, not just volunteers.
no, just volunteers. I mean, I'm saying
Oh, okay.
not,
You're talking about
not
volunteers.
just, but people in ministry, but also volunteers in ministry where they're really overtaxed.
Yeah.
So, why don't we talk a little bit about schedule, and then we'll talk about why it's good to say no and when you should say no.
All right. No, sounds good. So schedule-wise, Joe, could you kind of run us through? I know you've got a basic breakdown of your schedule, something that Jen and you kind of go over together, and then you talk it over with Brian and the elders. And
Yep.
So can you give us kind of...
Brian and the elders want to make sure that I think Brian would say, and I believe him, that he wants to make sure I'm not doing too much.
Correct.
But any of this means you ought to be
And
evaluating.
a double check they're actually doing something.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. You should be checked to make sure you're not doing too much and not doing too little. Pastors will generally do one or the other. Most pastors I know try to do too much, but it can go either way.
Yeah, most pastors I know in the area for my church probably do too little. I'm just doing the counter to what you said.
Like where?
No, I don't know. You can rewind and listen to it. Whatever.
You said
I don't
in
know.
my
You can just-
area.
yeah, from my area or my church.
Okay.
Just
All
listen
right.
and you know.
Now, people are gonna take you seriously now.
Oh,
I don't think I'm
you
not
think
doing
so?
anything.
You really think you
Yeah,
are gonna
man,
say a
because
joke?
they trust you.
Oh, they don't.
Totally trust you.
No, consider the source. It's Fofo.
I know.
With a source like Fofo.
Fofo knows is the hashtag.
Fofo knows is
See?
the hashtag.
All right, so and right now, and again, that's like when to say no and when you can't do things.
Yeah.
The schedule that I have developed is on hold in part because of my home situation where I'm
Correct.
trying to take care of my mom who lives with us and my dad lives with us, and so that has made some things a little more complicated. But in general, it's important when you're putting together your schedule as a minister, especially as a pastor and the preaching pastor, you have to make sure that your schedule has in it built-in time for you to be reading the scripture, studying the scripture, reading books, and prayer. Like that is a part of your job, your calling. And it may feel too good to be true. You may feel guilty about doing it, but you are not doing your job if that is not a part of your daily work. Also, meetings, visitation, counseling, all of those things. And so what you have to do is you have to figure out, what are my primary responsibilities?
Yes.
You got to get everything down. I like to put it on a whiteboard or on a blank piece of paper. What are all of the things that I have to be doing? Get it all down. And then how many hours am I supposed to be working? Now, you can either start with that or you can whittle away after the fact. Either way, you need to be working within a set parameter of hours that the elders agree on, and you need to prioritize the right things. So in my case, ideally, my Monday is a study day. So I'm fresh off of Sunday. I'm tired, but I'm still ready to go, and I'm excited to get in the Word. And so Monday is a day when I read the Scripture, I begin studying my passage, doing my sermon work. I might read other books or articles associated with that. I'll work on other writing and projects, but that's a day for study and reading and all that. I don't really put meetings on that day.
No,
And then Tuesday is when the meetings start. So we have a staff meeting on Tuesdays. And then it'll be, I try not to put other meetings on that. I'm doing prep for other things that I might be teaching, whether that's leadership lab or pastoral development or anything like that.
So a lot of so just to make the difference here,
right?
Monday is focused on prayer and study for Sunday.
Yeah,
that's
mostly
the
for
majority
Sunday.
of your
even
your
if it's not
prep
going
is.
to that sermon, it's leading towards Sunday because it's books and stuff that I need to be reading and working on that are going to feed into that. Yeah. And so Tuesday, I've got other prep that I need to be working on. So I'm not really working on my sermon. I'm working on, like I said.
That's also your FOFO day.
Jimmy usually works. So yeah, Jimmy and I actually have a meeting on that day as well. So there's another meeting that happens. And then sometimes there's a meeting that might have to happen that gets scheduled there. That's fine. But Wednesday is the day that I try to put all of my meetings on. And so I schedule as many as I can, church members that want to meet. I'll work into the evening so I can do evening meetings, morning meetings. I'm not home for dinner on that night. I don't get to see my family that day. It's fine. It's only the one day. We have elders meetings that happen on that night. We have worship planning meetings that happen on that night. We have orientation or membership classes that'll happen on that night. So a lot of things will fall on a Wednesday. Mostly that's my meetings day. Counseling, I do counseling on that day with people that are in need. Thursday, I go back to my sermon. I try to wrap it up. I might touch on my sermon throughout, but Thursday I try to get it pretty much worked out. Not completely done, but 90% done. And again, I can throw in a meeting, but like I'll be regularly I meet with Pat at Thursdays at 9. I'm meeting with Seth, which is one of our church planters, at 3 or 2 o'clock.
Tom, you meet with Tom as well?
Tom is on Tuesdays. I forgot him. Yeah, so it's like
easily forgettable.
Yeah, nice Tom. The meetings are kind of spread throughout, but I've got locked in times for study and prayer, so that doesn't move. And then I've got times with meetings that kind of float all over. And Friday's my day off. Saturday I work a half day.
Here, let's go with Friday back, okay?
Okay.
Now you do day off on Friday, where a lot of pastors will do it Monday. Why do you do Friday instead of Monday?
Guys that I know that take off Mondays say that they take off Monday either because they are tired and they need the rest, and or because they are discouraged from Sunday. I've never felt discouraged by the time Sunday night rolls around. Even if I feel bad about how things went on my part, I'm over it, right? Like God's going to do his thing. So I'm not discouraged, but I am tired. And because I'm tired, I don't want my day off to be a day when I'm tired because my kids are going to want to play. Also, Friday is oftentimes a holiday, so the kids might have that day off more often. But it's a good day. And then Saturday is a half day, maybe a little bit more, it depends. But I'll do an orientation class on that day perhaps.
Preaching lab, leadership lab,
yeah, all that.
CG Leaders Fellowship.
Right. And then
pastoral development.
So those things happen on Saturdays. And then whenever I'm done, like whenever the work is done, after all of those things on a given day, like a night like tonight or a Saturday afternoon, Jimmy and I will then record an episode or two of Doctrine and Devotion. That's the gist of mine. So what I do is I make sure that I'm not working too late. Like when I go home, I turn everything off. I'm not engaging unless it's an emergency. And it has to be a real emergency, not just like a, pretend emergency.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good or something.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't want to give examples. So
Yeah. Jim. So yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the gist of mine. Again, we're a smaller church, but my focus tends to be on preaching, teaching, and leadership development. So that's where most of my efforts are going, and then I do some counseling and whatnot as well in meetings. So I think the main things are you have to know what's important, prioritize those things, and make sure that they get done first. But you, Jimmy, like you're bivocational,
Yep.
and you've got to balance family and work and all of that. How do you get stuff done when your vocation is so demanding, and you've got family that you're very attentive to? How do you get work done when you have to be somewhat flexible at times?
I mean, it's utilizing the time that I have is really important. So as much as I would love to be at the cigar lounge or somewhere else, and I know that oftentimes, or not oftentimes, sometimes that's not the best place for me. I'll get distracted or just distracted is probably the right word. Would you say that's the right word?
Yeah, sometimes you just, because guys want to play cards, they want to do stuff,
Yeah,
and sometimes you got to say no.
That's right.
And sometimes they won't let you say no. They just keep pestering.
Exactly. Steve. There's people that like Steve.
Steve learned how to play canasta, and guess who wants to play canasta?
Oh my gosh.
All the time now.
Steve is the worst.
Oh, but he's good at canasta.
No. Steve, you got to put your melds down. You got to put melds down, Steve.
He's all right. We played today.
Wait, why are you playing with him?
That because you didn't show up.
Of course I didn't show him. I'm working because I have to get those things done. And so I make sure that I'm using my time wisely, working hard. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, I have a whole arrangement.
A complex system. Jimmy's system is complex because I'm sorry, I'm going to speak for Jimmy. Jimmy's schedule is so complex because of the business that he runs. It's very demanding. It's very complicated. And it's global. Like you got to fly and go out places. You got to do all this stuff. So Jimmy has alerts and systems and OmniFocus and all this stuff going on. And so ministry becomes a part of that.
Correct. And so, even while I'm doing, work for my job,
right,
I'm still trying to engage with what's going on in the church at the same time. And so,
Jim, you're on, like Jimmy, we use Slack.
Why
don't you talk a little bit about Slack and how we stay connected, even though you're bivocational and you're not like part-time, but you're full-time at your job.
Yeah.
And then you're very part-time here, but you're very engaged all week long.
Yeah. I mean, we use Slack as a team collaboration communication tool. It's something that not only do we use at the church here, but I also use at work. So it's actually really helpful for me because
right.
I'm always on one channel and I'll get alert for another channel.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to switch back and forth and see what's going on. And so you'll get alerts on what people have said or what people are responding to, like Brian. And even in Slack, I set things to ask people that haven't responded to certain things for their response. So you get reminders and things like that. But I mean, yeah, for me, my system has to do a lot with email flow, like processing my emails and my task list. But I learned early on that if I want to get everything done, I have to have a system. And so I think for any minister, any bivocational, anything like that, you have to have a system and a set time and place. And for me, it is pretty rigid to a degree. I know when I first get into the office, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to spend my first 2 hours on. I know what I'm going to spend the next 2 hours on. I know, and that's what I move back and forth in. And so a lot of it has to do with if I don't, I have this fear. Here's the thing: is like there's only so many hours in a day. We all agree with that. But my fear is this: if I don't get my job done during the day, then I have to get it done at night. And if I'm getting it done at night, I'm not engaged with my family.
Right. And you're very engaged with your family. Like
and so
you do good there.
That's a driving force for me.
Yeah.
Is I need to get this done so I'm not robbing them
or
myself, of that joy of being with them. And I think that's the same that pastors need to also think through is, if you're not getting what you need to get done during the day, then you need to get it done at night, because you do have an obligation. You do have an obligation and a responsibility, because you're receiving a paycheck from the church, and you're called to steward your time well. And so that's the same for me. I'm receiving a paycheck somewhere, and I'm called to steward my time well, so I'm not stealing from them. And I think it's the same thing for those in ministry, any job, any profession. You've entered into this agreement.
Right. And one of the things, like we tease Jimmy all the time about, oh, you're not hanging out, you're not doing, where are you at? But the reality is that Jimmy will always get his stuff done. And the church, of course, is flexible. Jimmy's work day for the church is usually Tuesday. Mm-hmm. This week it'll be Friday or Saturday or something. Fine. Doesn't make a difference. And of course, Jimmy, like all of you bivocational guys, you always put in more hours than you actually get paid for. That's just how it works. That's just what you guys do. And so, yeah, he'll be working on Saturday because he couldn't work today, like on site. But he's because of that constant contact through the apps and everything, we're in communication and we're always getting stuff done. The 2018 Doctrine and Devotion Conference is just around the corner, but there's still time to register.
It's going to be bigger than last year, and that's thanks to our 7 sponsors.
Wait, 7?
7? Oh, yes, we big time now.
That's a holy number.
B&H Academic, who put out the Spurgeon Study Bible. There's Moody Publishers, who put out your 3 books. We got Logos Bible Software. We got Missionaware. We got Legacy Dads. It's all going to be cool. Great.
Yeah, and we also have some amazing coffee that's roasted locally here by Fresh Ground Roast. And the coffee is brought to you by Crossway Publishers and Soldiers of Christ Prison Ministries, led by Scott Kalis out of Redeemer Fellowship. This is a ministry where Scott disciples men who are incarcerated, helping them to become better followers of Christ and better dads as they exit the prison system.
So you do not want to miss out on this. Go to drdevotion.com and register now. So I think it's really important that you have kind of a system in place, Joe.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have a schedule. I know of some professionals that would, the first half of the day, they won't answer any phone calls or any emails. All they do is their work for the first half of the day. Then after lunch, then they'll start returning phone calls, returning emails. I personally can't really do that.
Right.
Because my emails do pile up pretty quick. I mean, typically for me, I'm because we do business in Europe.
And you have time-sensitive issues.
I have time-sensitive, but because of my issues not my issues, but my business in Europe, I get up. I like to get up early. I'll do do a quiet time kind of a thing. But then I'll answer emails and stuff for Europe first. Then I always have breakfast with the family. I like to have breakfast every morning with my family. Then I go into the office, and there I do kind of actually more of a I do a study, my own kind of a study. Close my door, go that route, and then I hit the ground doing every hour of my day has something very specific that I'm doing, whether it's administration, whether it's answering emails, whether it's doing cost sheets or anything like that. So I want to encourage, I think, our pastors and professionals just in general to really think through your schedule, and figure out what it is that you need to get done efficiently so that you could be home with your family. Because I know, Joe, you always try to at least have one meal.
Dinner, yeah. Typically it's dinner. And we have breakfast together 3 days a week because we do family devotions.
And I think that's a blessing because a lot of people don't have that, right?
And it's when Jimmy says you have to have a system, he doesn't mean you have to have a complex system. He means
have a plan.
You have to have an approach and a plan for you to be effective in getting things done. Jimmy's has to be complex because what he does is very complex. Me, it doesn't have to be that complex, but I have to be very disciplined. Not that I am, but I need to be very disciplined in working out a simple plan of execution to get that stuff done.
And so when you have that discipline and when you have that plan in place, though, you're able to do, and Joe says he's not disciplined, and I agree with him. But one of the things that you are disciplined in, Joe, is learning when to say no and when to say yes. And I think that's actually really important for everybody to learn to do, especially in ministry. Because as you mentioned, Joe, you've got certain days that you've got meetings and certain days that you don't. You allow certain things to happen at certain times. And the reason why you don't allow things at night is because when you say yes to handling that person's issue. You're saying no to being with Jen and the kids.
Right. And if there's an emergency, that's of course when you're ready to say yes.
Of course, and your family is willing to do that. But if that becomes the norm,
right. And
then
for
that becomes
many
an
in ministry,
issue.
it does.
And that's the problem. And I would actually, I don't think it's a sin issue. But I do think it's a critical issue. I do think it's a critical concern.
And it can become a sin issue. You're not managing your household well.
You're not managing. Okay, fair. That's a really good point. You're not managing your household well, and you're, I would say, you're idolizing ministry to the neglect of your family, and you're sacrificing your family at the altar of ministry at that point.
We don't feel it that way, but that is what it is.
Well, we don't feel it that way,
but everybody else.
But they do.
Yeah. Well, the sacrifice always feels it.
Yeah, there you go. They feel the burn, and I'm not talking about Sanders.
No, thankfully.
Yes, thankfully.
So I think, and there are areas in where it's hard for me to say no, especially when it's people like, hey, I can't have meetings on this day. I've got to get these things done. And then somebody's like, hey, can we meet? And I'll be like, yeah, we can meet. So sometimes I struggle with that, but I learned to say no out of necessity. And a lot of you know this story, but so I won't go into it, but I really got burned out, back in 2011, and I was doing too much and I wasn't resting.
Yeah.
So I had to hang certain things up, pull back on my schedule, and learn how to rest, create some borders, some boundaries. And so here's what I would say: a couple of things. One is you have to know what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. Driscoll used to talk about it in terms of everybody has a plate. You want to fill up your plate, but not everybody has the same size plate. So don't look at Jimmy's plate and go, I'm going to put as much as Jimmy has on his plate as my plate. Not because it's not because, let me put it this way. I might want to do as much as Jimmy's doing. Like, wow, it's so cool. Look at all that stuff. But I don't have that capacity. Everybody's different. So know your limitations.
I'm smarter than Joe. Yeah.
Smarter.
I can handle a lot more.
Okay. Well.
I like it. I can handle a lot more.
Right.
No, it's cool, dude.
I'm gonna forego the plate analogy here
on out. You're about to make a fat joke.
No, I was not.
Yeah, you
I
would.
was not.
Yes, you were. You know what you're gonna
joke.
say? Yes, I know what you're gonna say.
What?
Oh, your dinner plate's pretty full too, huh?
No, I was just gonna say, like you can eat at dinner. You can eat more than I can eat.
No, I can't.
Yes, you can.
I've seen you. I have seen you.
Have not. Jen can eat more than I can eat.
Oh, well, it doesn't show.
Jen can put it away.
I've never seen Jen.
Oh, Jen.
No.
Oh man, Jen.
Don't say that about your wife. Come
on.
No,
she, yeah.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
She chows down. That's what I was gonna say. So, anyways, here's the trick. So, because there's a trick to saying no, and this is how I had to kind of preach to myself and get myself out of it. So you got to know your limitations. Talk to your leadership. If you have bad leadership, good luck. Pray and ask God for mercy and help. But hopefully you can talk to your leadership and make sure that they know, like, there's certain things I can't do. I've got to give this up so that somebody else can do it. So I can focus on the things I am really good at and can be more effective at. And you guys have heard, the thing like, well, if somebody can do something as well as you, 80% as well as you can, then let them do it, right?
Yeah.
You can pass it on. And that's fine. That's generally good, but that's usually not enough of a motivator. I had to dig deep and find out why I was unwilling to let go of things and why I insisted that I had to do them instead of just saying, no, I can't or I won't do it anymore. One of the reasons I believed I couldn't let go or say no of a responsibility was because, A, to do so would mean I'm just weak and wimpy and a big baby. And so I felt like I would hear the devil whisper in my ear, you big baby, you should be able to handle this. Why can't you do all this stuff and more? Look at how small your church is. That ain't no thing. Mm-hmm. People pastoring in bigger churches are more responsible. Look at their plate. So I had to come to grips with that. Like there are some lies that I'm believing here that are not true about it being just a weakness that I should overcome.
Yeah.
The second thing is that I found myself disbelieving God. If you're saying, no, I can't let go of this because it'll all fail, it'll all come to nothing.
It's all gonna fall
so
apart.
So what you're saying is also God needs you. God can't do it without you. No way God could accomplish this without you. You're then also denying the giftedness of other people who God could use in that capacity. You're denying them the ability to grow and to flourish and to lead. So I had to see it from a different perspective. It's not just that you're too weak. And you know what? You are too weak. You can't do everything, and that's okay. You need to pass this off and give it to somebody else and not hold on to it and make it into an idol or think that you are so awesome. Pride could really be an issue there. So I had to look at it from those perspectives, and that really became the secret for me. I had to admit I'm weak, I have limitations, and I can do more better by doing less. Like I can accomplish more by doing less.
Yeah.
As long as I'm meeting my responsibilities, of course.
Yeah.
But you got to be willing to pass things off. So I think you need to say no if it's going to go beyond your ability to do well.
Yeah.
Right. If don't use that as an excuse, like, well, since I can't do it perfect, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is listen, if you taking on that responsibility means that not only it's not going to get done well, but other things are going to be impacted, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
No, I agree.
And what about you? When do you think somebody should say no to a ministry opportunity?
I mean, all the things that you mentioned there, Joe, I would agree with. I mean, for me, I think I've already kind of said it, but I'm going to say it again because for Joe had mentioned his story about kind of burnout or getting close to burnout. How would you say burnout? What would you say?
Well, I was pretty burned out, yeah.
Okay.
Nervous breakdown,
something like that. For me, I almost lost my family.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, my marriage was falling apart. And so it really was this individual, Dave DeYoung up in Canada.
DeJong,
yeah. Dave DeJong, saying to me, and I think he read it somewhere. I don't know. He probably read it in a book somewhere, but, that every yes is a no.
right?
And that for me.
Now explain that.
Well, when I'm saying, at least at this point, when I was in full-time ministry up in Canada, when I was saying yes to these meetings, I was saying no to being with Michelle.
Right.
When I was saying yes to taking on more responsibility, I was saying no to being engaged with the family.
So you have to find out, if I'm saying yes to something, what am I saying no to?
What am I impacting? Exactly. What is that impacting here? And having those conversations, like even for Joe and I, recording when we record, I had to have a conversation with my wife and say, okay, here's what this impacts is, Wednesday is also my long day. I go from the factory to the elders meeting to Joe and I recording, and then I'm not home till, after 7, after 8, the kids are already in bed. And so your
kids aren't in bed. Stop it.
They're in bed.
Stop. They're jumping. They're in their room. They're jumping around like crazy people.
No, because we know how to manage our household.
Oh, really?
Joe. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
I'm going to go ahead and post this picture of Ariana that you sent me.
No, you cannot. No, she had a boo-boo. She had a boo-boo. You can't put that.
Well, I'm just saying. You sent me the pictures.
I sent you. No, I didn't send you the photo.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no. We were FaceTimed
you,
and I took a photo.
You took a photo that Ariana wanted to see her boo-boo.
She had an owie on her finger.
Yeah.
On the middle one.
It was on the middle one.
She wanted to show me.
She wanted to show you.
So now I can show everybody.
There you go.
Check the show notes.
Oh, no. But having a conversation, right? And saying, okay, Michelle, are you okay with this?
Right.
Are you fine with this? And listen, I am an extremely blessed individual. I mean that. I have an employer that gives me flexibility. I have a church leadership and a church body that gives me flexibility. And I've got a wife that gives me a lot of flexibility. I mean, a lot of flexibility. And I cannot, she lets me, I actually hear it from a lot of men all the time. Like, man, dude, you get away with so much. And it's because Michelle
the face that she made on Sunday. We were walking out of the church. It was Jen and me and Jimmy and Michelle. And Jimmy was doing something that Michelle finds annoying, and Michelle made this face. Oh my gosh. And it's that face that a woman will make at you, and it's the worst when it's your wife, where they just look at you like, you are so pathetic. You are so, like, that's so annoying. It was so fun. She goes, I hate it when Jimmy does that.
I get that look a lot, Joe. I just need to talk this through with somebody.
Yeah, well, talk with somebody that cares. Okay. Call Pat.
Call Pat.
I'm going to say no to this ministry opportunity right now. I got time for this.
So, yeah, I think if it's going to impact your family,
right,
you absolutely... I almost lost my wife. I'm not willing to lose her. I'm not willing to lose my children. I think we've seen a lot of individuals, a lot of ministry professionals, a lot of mega church pastors whose children have been ruined,
Yeah.
scarred. I mean, how
They've been beat up and
They've been
forsaken
beat up because of
yeah,
this.
I've seen small church pastors do the same thing, man. The kids are like, Dad was never
it's not
around.
fair. It's not right to them. And as far as like for me growing up, my dad was he had that plate, that big plate he did, but he always made time for us. Always.
Yeah.
He loves
his kids, man.
He loves his kids.
He still loves you guys.
Still, yeah. And but I mean, he
some
always takes
perseverance.
that time. Yeah, he always takes that time to be with us, to be present, to be active in our lives, and I don't, I want that for my kids as well.
Yeah, I would also mention like you might want to rethink saying yes if you're not going to be able to execute. Now it's like, what are you thinking?
Nothing, Joe. Continue.
I'm saying like, okay.
I'm glad you've learned this lesson.
Oh, stop it.
Or you're thinking of this lesson.
Stop it. I'm thinking about somebody else, not myself.
Oh, really?
No. I'm just saying like, okay, sometimes we'll use that as an excuse to say no to everything, and that's not okay. So that's not what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is you may feel a burden to do something, but you may not be good at it. You may not be gifted at it. So you might want to rethink saying yes. Or that thing that you are all excited about, you might need some outside perspective to determine whether or not that's going to be a helpful thing for your church.
That's a good point.
You might need to like, you know what? I really want to do that. Man, I really want to do I don't know. I want to do a drama outreach in the park on Sunday.
No one should be doing that. So yeah, no, think of something better.
So,
There's a better example.
I
You
don't
want to do
have
a pub talk.
Okay. What?
You want to do a pub talk.
Okay, yeah, let's say.
That's a lot better than a drama on a Sunday afternoon in the park. No one does that.
Yeah,
no one
do that.
should be doing that.
There's the people that do Shakespeare in the park all the time.
No, but not your church. Your church shouldn't be doing it.
Church can do it.
Yeah, you're not going to do it well.
Maybe they would.
No, who's going to do it well? Who's going to do it well?
Actors and actresses.
No, they're not going to do it well, Joe.
Okay, here's the point.
No one's going to go to that.
Maybe you want the church will go. Maybe you want to do
Good outreach of church people.
Got to reach them churchgoers. Maybe you want to try and do a pub talk. Hey, I see people doing pub talk. They meet in a pub and they have these open conversations on everything from the Second Amendment to guilt and racism and all this stuff. But if you are not a person that can handle a crowd, if you are not a person that who is quick on your feet, if you are a person that cannot control a room and people that might get a little contentious, you have no business trying to lead a pub talk.
Yeah.
You might want to organize it, but you got to have somebody else lead it. You got to say, you got to know your limitations, your capacity, your gifts.
Yes.
You got to know if it's going to fit within the overall framework of your ministry and your calling. But really the bottom line I think here is what Jimmy said. If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. What is that no? I think that's probably the smartest takeaway for this. So in terms of schedules and saying no, you got to have a schedule. It has to be flexible, but you got to have a schedule.
Yep.
And that way you know what you're supposed to be doing, you know when you're supposed to be doing it, and if you need to flex, that's okay.
Not only do you have to have a schedule, you need to discuss that with other people.
Yeah.
You
Get
need
input.
You need to seek the input of your leadership, and you need to get your spouse's input. You need to, you guys need to talk about it, figure it out. So they have to sign off on it.
Yeah.
Third, I think you're about to say systematize.
Well, I was going to say, I have two schedules. I have the one that I show my wife, and then I show the elders, but then I have my real schedule.
Oh, my goodness. That'd be horrible if you did that.
It fits on the back of a stamp. It just says Canasta.
Canasta? That's Steve's new schedule right now.
Yeah, we share one schedule.
That's
actually.
it.
That's
it.
thing.
So, yeah, systematize. And then fourth, you need to review it often.
Yeah.
Michelle and I try to review schedules quarterly, if not, we probably do it maybe twice a year.
I do it once a year or twice a year, yeah.
We try to do it twice a year. We pretty much do it, I think we've talked about this before, where we do it when we're discussing our marriage, kind of reviewing our marriage, like what's working, what's not, what needs to change. So we always kind of add the schedule aspect to it.
Yeah, I mean, just even going over your calendar regularly with your spouse is good, so that he or she knows, like, oh, this is coming up this week. This is coming up this month.
Yeah, for me, that's Sunday evening. That's what we like to do. Sunday evening. I mean, so exciting at my household, but yeah. Sunday evening review weekly schedules.
Yeah, we don't do that too much.
No, that's why you guys don't know what's going on.
Well, I know what's going on.
No, but you think Jen, you know what's going on.
I know what's
Jen
going on.
has no idea what's going on.
Jen doesn't know, like, I'm going to be gone this weekend.
Actually, how long?
No, she does. I'm
I know, but
teasing.
how long did that take? How long? Did
No,
that
she's
take?
known about
No,
this one for a long
not
time.
that. I'm talking about. It took so long for you to finally let the church know your schedule.
No, I didn't.
Oh, come on now. I'm talking about like
I don't keep things from the church.
No, but you wouldn't put them on the church calendar like
I
your
just
time
don't think
away.
about it.
You know, Brian.
But we talk about in staff meeting.
I know, but Brian wants on the church calendar, so we
Okay.
all know. You got when you set up what you got to do, what you're
Yeah,
going to be doing. You
right.
got to let the church know.
Yeah, I do. I told Deb.
No, but she got to put it on a calendar then.
Oh, that's on her then. See.
Well,
Way to go, Deb.
Deb, your review is coming up.
Try to be a ministry assistant and not a ministry hindrance, Deb. Okay. No, I know that
is so horrible.
No,
Deb, you
she's
do a
awesome.
great job.
No, yeah, I know.
Say
It's
that.
like I would put it on my calendar and I'd be like, oh, there it is. I know what's coming up. I know everything, and I've got preachers lined up to take my place and everything. But if the other elders aren't aware, and because I just assume like, oh, everybody knows.
Yeah, I know because you're the big deal.
No.
You're the focus point of all of our attention, Joe. You're right.
No. It's because it used to be a smaller operation. My calendar was shared. Everybody could see it. That was why we was originally done that way. I was like, I didn't need to add it to a special calendar because it was on mine and everybody saw it.
Yeah.
That's not the case now, and so I gotta get better at that.
Get
Thanks for
Joe
calling me
Smith.
out in front of everybody.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great.
What?
I hope this is a Thursday episode.
No. I'm going to put it out on Monday.
Maybe a third. Well, I'm the one who uploads it, so.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, I guess you're going to. Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts, your suggestions on efficiency, on schedules,
Ooh,
on
like
go ahead.
your favorite apps and hacks. Share that
Oh, that's a good one.
with hashtag JoFo get it done. Hashtag JoFo
GTD.
getting things done.
Yeah.
Hashtag JoFo GTD.
That's good. I'm going to share. You know what? And we should share some of ours.
Yeah. Well, yours.
Well, okay, yeah, share some of mine. I'll share mine, not Joe's.
Yeah,
Joe, what do you have? What do you do?
What?
Do you have any?
What are you talking about? Yeah, of course I do.
Like what?
I have a schedule.
I do, but you don't have, you don't have app, which is fine. You don't have to have
No,
an app.
I don't have an app. Yeah, I don't use an app.
Not even like a calendar app.
I use a calendar app. I use it wonderfully.
Really? Still?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, dude.
Brian you use wonderfully. What are you talking about?
No, I do not.
Steve uses wonderfully.
No, he does not.
See, I just saw him use it.
No, Steve uses what I use.
What do you use?
I no. Hashtag JoFo GTD.
Okay, I use wonderfully, and it works great.
Oh, really? Does it really work good for you?
Yep. Got all my reminders in there too.
Anyways, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on
Hashtag
Facebook
JoFo
/
GTD.
Doctrine and Devotion.
Hashtag.
You can head on over to the website, drdevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast or hit up the store and register for the 2018 Doctrine and Devotion Conference on the Spirit and
It's
the
so full. You guys are
church.
going to be uncomfortable if you go. It's so
No,
full.
it's
People are going to be
not.
sitting in the windows, dude. It's too full.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
It's way too
Wouldn't that
full.
be amazing? Hashtag JoFo GTD.
This
Fresh pod every
episode,
Monday and
that-
Thursday. Blog post on Wednesdays. No, this will be next week. So it's still
Maybe.
whether Monday or Thursday.
Maybe Monday.
Okay, well, Monday or Thursday.
Maybe Thursday.
Doesn't matter. It's still Thursday because it starts Friday.
Yeah, but today is what? Wednesday. So next Thursday is more than a week from now. That's 2 weeks.
Later.